Hey y'all, it's Zeffie. Excuse my voice, I am now officially straight up sick. Going to the doctor in a few days. My sinuses are bugging me, so please ignore my voice. I'm so sorry. So this is my first week as a regular host for Starting Out Solitary, and I am so excited to be part of this now more regularly. However, I'm starting at a topic that I feel that I'm very unqualified, I want to say, to talk about, and it's not for anything of me not knowing stuff, it's purely out of experience, and you'll get it. This week is raising pagan children, and I'm not a child. I was not raised pagan, nor do I have children to raise pagan. It's weird. So I want to say right now, I'm not a parent. I don't know how everything works. We all, I find, have our opinions on how children should be raised. I mean, in general, just we all have our opinions on how kids should be raised and how we should parent and how other people should parent. And the truth is, you really don't know until you were in that situation. Also, every child is different, and how you expect things to happen won't always happen. You will not have your neighbor's kid, you will not have your best friend's kid, you will not have your sibling's kid. Your own children will be different from each other. So I can speak on how I think things would go. I honestly can't wait to have kids. I feel like that's a very big part of me. You ask most women my age, I'm 22. Their ideals, their goals, their dreams in life. And I can honestly say that if, the genie from Aladdin came out and I could have anything I wanted, I would be barefoot print in the kitchen with kids running around the front yard with the dog, dinner ready for my husband when he came home. I would be a mom, and I'd be a stay-at-home mom, the one driving them around to soccer practice everywhere, and picking them up from Boy Scouts, bringing them to dance, and doing all that. And then I'd be, the grandma to spoil everyone, and that's who I am. That's what I would love to do. Ideally, perfect world. I'd drop any career for that ability to have a ton of kids. But also being said, I do not know who I'm going to marry. I am actually single as hell. I have not been with someone for the longest time, and as much as I could say, oh, I'd love to be with a pagan man, I can't say I wouldn't be with a non-pagan, because I wouldn't want someone to look at me and say, because of her religious or spiritual beliefs, I will not date her. I can't say that about someone else. I feel like that's very hypocritical. But at the same time, it's the thought of dating another pagan, because I'm so eclectic and my beliefs are everywhere. The thought of raising someone like that is really weird. I had a very simple religious upbringing. I was raised Catholic. My mother's Catholic, or she converted. There's a whole backstory behind how her Catholicism came to be, but she's basically been Catholic her entire life, regardless if she had the title or not. And my father is Catholic, so that was a very easy upbringing. It's very solidified in your beliefs. I would definitely bring up my kids around stuff. I really try to raise them really with the idea of any harm done, do what you will, just do your own thing. I would not bring them around, force them to participate in any rituals or, things of that sort. I wouldn't have them commanding, learn about, what different herbs do or what different rocks do. My whole belief with religion and children is that, it's your house, it's your child, your rules. If you want them to be involved at a certain point, go for it. Much to my dismay, my parents made me go to church until the day I turned 18. My 18th birthday happened to be a Sunday, and Sunday morning they did not wake me up to go to church. So that was that. When I I was old enough to express that it was not my thing. I did not want to be involved in it. They still had me go to church, and it was a nightmare. So for that aspect, I don't think I would force my child to be into it. It would be there to be around. And I'd have to really watch my words, because I'm not a fan of the word witch. I will never identify myself as a witch. The only time, if you'll ever hear me identify myself that way, is when I'm trying to freak someone out, or if I'm trying to fit a stereotype, or being totally sarcastic. It does not happen. And I could not ever, and I mean ever, tell my child, especially at a young age, that, mommy's a witch, because if the kid's anything like me, I'd be screwed. I remember I remember the story. I said a few pretty interesting things in kindergarten. I was about 5 years old. When you're that young, we were taught that you know, cigarettes are drugs because it's tobacco, and alcohol's a drug, and everything's a drug, and we didn't know what drugs were at that point. Like, I had no idea what, you know, meth or coke or heroin or weed even was. I just, not that that's really a drug, but that's the only two things we knew of were, you know, alcohol and cigarettes. And I caught my father smoking a cigar with a neighbor one night, and I came into work the next day, the next day saying, my daddy does drugs. So I don't need my child going into preschool or kindergarten saying my mommy's a witch and does spells, and has a wand and uses rocks to heal people. I mean, it's not that people necessarily believe in it when you say my mommy's a witch, because kids have really wild imaginations and it can be taken as that. The world is also becoming slightly more pagan friendly, I believe, or I've come to notice, and that's the world that I would hope for my child. Especially in the education system. Hopefully they sent it to a teacher, or the teacher would realize what was going on, and be more open-minded to that, just because they realize they have to work with a lot of different families and their own beliefs. But I would have them in public school. I can say I would have that because it opens you up, being in public school, to so many different opportunities, and really the opportunity to learn about diversity and all different walks of life. That is one thing that I will never regret about growing up in a public school system. It wasn't always the best. We definitely had our issues. I could go on entire horror stories about my high school. But at the end of the day, I would not trade my exposure to diversity for the world. I think that's one of the most important things I ever really got out of that place, was the diversity. And really realizing that not everyone was like me. There's been talk about, you know, pagan schools, because, you know, we have different religious schools for different religious beings. Could we have a religious school for pagans? I wouldn't do that just because I don't think there's enough. I wouldn't want my children to only be around that specific mind frame. I also don't think that my kids, because I want a bunch of them, I don't think they're all going to end up being pagan. I mean, I have strong feelings on what my kids are going to end up like, and their gut feelings. Don't ask me how I feel them. I know how it's going to end up. I just sound horrible. Oh my god. Ignore this. I'm so sorry. But I really can't imagine forcing my children to be in a religious setting. If you don't want to be involved in something, if you do not want to be involved religiously, that's fine. If my child wanted to be a Satanist, just as long as it wasn't like the malicious Satan worshippers, who, like, sacrifice babies. I don't think they even sacrifice children anymore, but who do, you know, nasty things. Or I'd be cool with that. If they wanted to be Catholic, be totally cool with that. If I grew up, if I ended up raising someone who became a priest, no issue with that, as long as they're a decent person. If I ended up raising a Hindu, as long as they're a decent person, I don't care. Become a part of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I don't care. Be a good person. That's really what it boils down to. But I mean, I'd have them around it, and if they choose to want to be involved, that's totally on them. I would never pressure any of that on them. That's just, I don't know, I guess that's me. So yeah, you guys have finally caught me with my hair down and makeup done, or halfway done. I just came home from a concert, so I'm a little rough looking. But I figure that's a pretty interesting way to start off me being a part of you guys permanently and full-time. I am so excited for this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys later. Toodles.